Hello, this is Evita Music, and you are listening to the Real Talk podcast, live from Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, stage 4, from Saumur to Poitiers, the hometown of the FDJ Suez.
Hello and welcome back to the Real Talk podcast. My name is Matt Neef. Big thank you to Evita Music from FDJ Suez for bringing us into today's episode. Lauren Rowney has departed us this morning, which is very sad for all of us and for all of you who don't get to listen to her lovely voice and great analysis tonight. But Georgie, Howe, you're still here. Georgie, hello.
Hey Matt, how you doing? I think we're making this podcast and dinner a bit of a trend, aren't we?
We are. I'll get you to set the scene in just a moment here. But first, we've got a very, very special guest with us tonight. Iris Slappendel, thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome. Very, very special, yes?
Yeah, very, very special. I think that's fair. I think a lot of our listeners will agree with me on that. For our listeners that don't know about you or what you're up to, tell us a little bit about your story and what you're up to at the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift this year.
Okay, I'm an ex-professional cyclist as well, and this week I'm working for Eurosport. And I'm here, it's the fourth time actually that I'm at Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, and I'm on the motorbike. I'm the motorbike reporter, so that's what I'm up to.
Yeah, awesome. We'll hear about that, I'm sure, as we go along, because you're out in amongst it today. Before we get to that, though, Georgie, do you want to set the scene for us today? Whereabouts are we? Where are we? What are we doing at the moment?
Well, Matt, we're in a very unconventional place to find in France, and that is a Japanese restaurant. We hunted for the salty flavors of Asian food, and we found it. It seems that everyone has been craving the same thing because the whole Eurosport gang is also here. It's a very busy restaurant. What night are we? I've lost track of the days of the week.
I think it's Tuesday night.
Tuesday night. Yeah, it's pumping for a Tuesday night. Must be a happening thing in town. But I've ordered a poke bowl. These two have ordered ramen, and we're ready to go on this podcast.
Yeah, ready to eat as well. I'm starving. I don't know about you two, but in some ways today was, I guess, a regulation sprint stage in the sense that it was a sprint finish. We thought Weebers would win. She did win. But there's still a lot to talk about today. So we'll get into that in a moment. And for our members here at Escape Collective and We'll Talk, you'll get even more of our analysis if you're listening to the members-only edition of this podcast with the off-mic segment at the very end, where we go in depth on a specific topic or talk about something we've observed throughout the day that doesn't make it to the regular podcast. So tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about the vibes at SD Works. I got the chance to hang out at the bus there as the riders came in tonight after Weebus' victory. So we'll get into that later on. But if you're not a member, first of all, welcome. Thank you for listening. Second of all, this is the perfect time to join Escape Collective. We've got a special promo running right now for 24 hours only. We're offering 25% off an annual membership. You can find all of the information at escapecollective.com/pod. Gives you access to the off-mic segment. You get access to all of our great content at Escape Collective, including Georgie's written articles, of which there's been plenty this week, right?
Yeah, I've felt like, I don't know, you guys see the GIF, what is it, of Jim Carrey on the keyboard?
Smashing away.
That's just me this week. I don't know if any of it's good, but it's getting out there.
I can guarantee you it is good. You're doing a great job in your first tour as a reporter.
Neo-pro. Let's use that word, please.
And becoming a member of Escape also just generally supports what we're doing. It's expensive to cover bike racing. It's expensive to bring people to bike races, especially when you're from Australia like Georgia and I are. It's a long way to fly. So if you like what we do here at Escape, consider joining, consider supporting us. It really does help to make sure we can keep coming back and keep providing the content that we hope you enjoy. All right. Let's get to the bike race. Georgie, you have race recap for us.
Yes, we did have a bike race today. It was 130 Ks. We started in the lovely town of Poitiers.
No, we're in Poitiers right now.
We're in Poitiers, right? Oh, God. Samu to Poitiers. Poitiers. I got a language lesson from Grace this morning.
Can you tell we're already tired?
Yeah, we're tired and hungry. So I can't wait for my salmon. So yeah, we started. It was a very hot start actually. The bike paddock was scorching as the riders set off. It was tagged to be a fast day. They had a roaring tailwind to start with, and I think you'll hear from Iris in a sec about how fast it actually was. But with about 90, there was a fight for the breakaway, and at about 96 k's to go, there was a rider from Ceratizit, Celia Lamoille, who got off the road, joined by the very aggressive this week, Maud Reinbeck from Volker Wessels, who I have written an article about on Escape Collective if you head over there and have a read. The Ceratizit rider was brought back to the peloton, but Franzi Koch of Picnic-PostNL and Anna Magalhaes from Movistar, they did a counterattack and joined Reinbeck up the road. Reinbeck was soon dropped at about 61 k's to go, so it was just the duo of Movistar and Picnic-PostNL who were swapping turns off front on an extremely fast day to be in a two up roll. So it would have been extremely hard on the pedals, and I got to catch up with Francesca at the end of the race there to chat about that. At 44 k's to go, SD Works were controlling the chase into the intermediate sprint. And Wiebes and Voss were at it again, trying to collect some points with Wiebes doing her thing and rolling Voss on the line. FDJ were taking control at various stages, as well as SD Works. They were attempting some echelon action as there was some crosswind from the right shoulder as they headed towards the finish line there. At about 38 k's to go, the gap to the breakaway was about a minute, and it continued to hover around that space for the next 20 or so kilometres. With about 17 k's to go, SD Works, Visma-Lease bike and FDJ were on the front, as well as Phoenix de Koenig. They were the main teams controlling for most of the day. With about 7 k's to go, the gap was down to about 12 seconds. Unfortunately, at about 5.9 k's to go, we saw Kristen Faulkner, who had another hard day on the bike, crash into the gutter and forced to have a bike change, but she was able to get back on and keep riding. 3.8 k's to go, Human Powered Health came through, which is the first time we've seen them with some initiative this week. And then as we hit the climb, which Matt and I drove, heading into the finish, Movistar's Sarah Martin started to really push the pace and the lead out for Liana Lippert. Kopecky then came to the front, leading out Wiebes. She had Anna van der Breggen there in support. And 1.9 k's to go, Anna comes around Kopecky and actually creates a bit of a gap and drops the peloton, including Kopecky. And the gap was then closed by Kim Lacourt with Voss on her wheel. And that was heading into the final corner of that course. It was a left turn before a long straightaway into the finish line. So Voss was third into that final corner, and Anna continues her lead out under that the Flamme Rouge with 1k to go. Uno X started to take over the pacemaking on the left side of the road with Canyon coming up on the right. Voss and Wiebes were trying to get across to Canyon on the right side as they saw Dygert there on the wheel, and that is dangerous. At about 330 k's to go, Wiebes and Dygert have a bit of a, like as we like to say in Australia, biffo. They boxed on for a bit on the wheel, and Lacourt was actually on the front leading everyone out there. It was Lacourt, Voss, and Dygert and Wiebes fighting for the wheel of Voss there. Then Dygert opens up with 270 k's to go, forcing Wiebes to step out at 250. And from there, it was pretty evident what was going to happen. Voss just could not come around, and Wiebes takes her next win of the Tour de France.
Wow. That was amazing. You did a great job summarising so much so quickly. Well done. Plenty to unpack there, and we'll get to all of it. But we've teased it a little bit. Iris, why don't you tell us what it was like on the back of the bike today, from your perspective?
It was mostly frantic, actually. I got on the bike around maybe 3 o'clock. So they were just racing for half an hour. And it was so fast. It was incredible. Every time when I looked at the speed of my driver, it was like, 50, 55. It's like, okay, it's a tailwind, but still, it's really fast. It's also rolling all day, yeah? So it's not like it's flat. Also in the caravan behind it was hectic. It was pretty chaotic. After I think about an hour of racing, when Reinbeek got a good cap, you saw the peloton like easing a little bit, slowing down, riders going back to the cars for biddens, etc. But it was never really chill in the peloton. I never at one moment saw riders chatting with each other, for example, in the back. You always saw that they were trying to be in that washing machine, as we call it, try to get to the front, because I think everyone was nervous all the time that it could break any moment because of the wind. And especially the last 1.5 hours, again, it was really fast. So it was kind of super fast, medium fast, super fast.
Georgie touched on it before, but there was a moment there where it looked like in the crosswinds we might have a bit of a split, or at least some teams tried to split it. What was that moment like from where you were sitting?
Yeah, exactly. I also on the bike behind, I thought all the time the wind is not really strong enough, but only this has to happen and it will split into parts, So there were also a few crashes, and I think it was especially dangerous going through towns where it's a bit more twist and turn, a bit more technical. It was also where most of the crashes, although nothing serious, happened. And I think that moment that it split was with maybe 40 Ks to go or something, leading up to that QOM as well. You just saw it stretching out, but I think there was a little bit of a split, but it was nothing too serious. Also because they changed direction again pretty soon, and it came all back together. So it was a bit of it was kind of a weird race in that way.
Yeah, Iris, I'm curious because we spoke a little bit at the finish about the commissaires and their antics this week. Can you describe a little bit of what you saw there?
Yeah, it's funny because we talk about the Tour de France getting every year more serious and more spectators and more professional teams. And I need to say also in the past few years, because that's one of the most interesting things of being on a motorbike, you see what's happening behind the peloton, and that's most of all mechanics, crashes, discussions between sport directors, etc. And what I really noticed today is that if a rider came back after a crash, they got absolutely no mercy from the commissaire.
Huh.
Absolutely not. There was at one point, it was still pretty halfway the race. I think Gerritsen crashed in a town with a few others. She needed to change her bike, and we waited with her, and then she went riding again, and I was looking behind why does it take so long for her to come? And then I noticed that every time when a car passed her, they went full gas. And I was like, oh, well, maybe it's because she's SD works, nobody wants to help her. And then I looked again and I noticed that, for example, Volker Wessels wanted to give her some support. And the commissaire immediately went to their car and said, okay, no, absolutely not. So they had to go full gas. So they every time, and there was also with other riders. I saw Bunel in struggling in the caravan. They were making a barrage every time a rider had issues. I thought it was a bit. I mean, I've seen it in the past few years. They're maybe a bit more stricter at the Tour, but I thought, oh well, actually, when a rider comes back after a crash, it's a bit unusual.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right, really. If a rider's coming back from the crash, they're not in it to win. Unless you're Lorena Wiebes, you're not in it to win the bike race today. So you would hope that they can at least get back reasonably efficiently to start the next day safely.
Yeah, even for someone like Lorena Wiebes, it depends a bit on the moment in the race, of course. But I think it's always a bit there is this rule, and we know it's not. You can't really stay behind the car, but there is also kind of the human, how you call it, the human touch that you have as a commissaire, I guess. But they're just super strict here. So it's good to know, I guess, that it's even more important to stay out of trouble.
Speaking of staying out of trouble, a good way of doing that is to get up the road with only just a couple of other riders. And we've talked about Franzi Koch already today. We've actually got an audio diary from her today. So we'll throw to Franzi right now to tell us all about her race from her own words.
Yeah, today was stage 4 and it was another flat day. Our
team goal was to go for a break because yesterday we saw that the break got quite a big gap and it was really hard to catch back the break. So yeah, I went into this race with the intention, nice break where it could be nice. Maybe 5 riders or even more would be ideal. But yeah, then it started really fast, and yeah, it seems like lots of people were interested in going for a break. But then it never really split it. And yeah, then we crossed a town, and afterwards we hit it a bit like, the wind is stronger than we originally thought, and it's crosswind. So we were all there together as a team and tried to put it in a gutter. But then we also realized, okay, yeah, it might be more windy, but not windy enough. So then the peloton stopped, and yeah, then I saw a movie star girl going, and I thought like, they're so strong. I go with them, and yeah, I hope for maybe even more company. But first it was just 3 of us, another Volker girl, which wasn't quite strong enough. So in the end, it was just me and a rider from Movie Star. And yeah, we rode really hard. We went all in. There was no holding back at all. But I thought originally like maybe it's turning more into a tailwind again, but the wind was always a little bit like annoying head crosswind, which isn't really playing in favor for a breakaway. But nevertheless, like, yeah, we went all in. We worked really well together until like the last moment. So yeah, there was no holding back. I saw a really hard day on the bike. But it was really nice to give it a shot, to race aggressive. And yeah, then we got caught back, but then I could enjoy the massive crowds in the last 2.5, 3K, which are really insane. Like, it's so nice to see how many people are cheering for us on the side of the roads, like literally everywhere, lots of signs. And yeah, that is just really special. So yeah, today was a good day to soak it all in because yeah, you literally saw them all really well. And yeah, the team spirit is really good and we keep on fighting. And I'm sure like at one point it will pay out.
All right, let's go back to the start of the day. We're at the start there in Saumur, and the big talking point was, how was Demi Volering going to be? She obviously had that big crash yesterday. There was all talk overnight about concussion protocols and would she start, wouldn't she start? Georgie, why don't you tell us what you saw at the start there today and how Volering looked and I guess how her day planned out from there?
Yeah, so we were told fairly early on that Demi Volering would not be speaking to the press apart from they get 2 questions in the mix zone, and that was going to be it. So the press rightly congregated around the mix zone, and it was. I think I've been at concerts, like heavy metal concerts, that have been easier than this mix zone. And that's a joke. I don't go to heavy metal concerts, but that's what I assume it would be like.
I believe you.
I know. I should speak with confidence, Matt. It works every time. Yeah, we were all there and waiting. I was speaking to a colleague and he was saying that rumor has it Demi went to try and do some warm-up with her teammates, then immediately got off the bike and went back into the bus and just looked queasy. Like she looked ill. Not good at all. And so it was actually a question, would she even get on her bike to start today? So then Matt and I were in the mix zone waiting with, it seemed like the entire press gallery that is following this Tour de France. And all of a sudden, Demi arrives with her team. She kind of limps off her bike a little bit. Her press officer is there as her bodyguard, and shout out, he is a listener, so he's a great guy. He did a great job at shepherding her into the mix zone because it was hectic. And I got my elbows out as a good sprinter should, and shoved my microphone as close as I could to Demi, so to hear exactly what she said.
I think it's fair to say she looked like she was really struggling this morning.
Yeah.
And it sounded like, from what I could hear from the audio, she almost sounded like she was in tears throughout.
Yeah. And it was interesting. She said on it, like, it does at the moment, it doesn't appear like it's not like it doesn't appear that I have a concussion, which is, I said to you, Matt, it's really, you say it like that when you think something might be wrong, but you're not quite sure yet.
Yeah, I think her words were, right now, I don't seem to have a concussion. not
Yeah.
I don't have concussion.
Yeah, so there's still when you it's a bit of a nefarious thing, a concussion, and if you don't feel quite right, like I saw quite a lot of kinesio tape on her neck, I'd say there's a lot of symptoms from whiplash as well. She'd be sore.
We were talking at the start of the stage about how long she would last today. You know, would she be off the bike in the first hour and in the team car? But she finished the stage. She got through. She actually finished on bunch time, so her GC is still unaffected by that crash so far. But Iris, I wonder, did you happen to see her at all today in your travels?
No, I haven't seen her at all on the bike in the peloton, which is a good sign.
Yep.
I saw only her teammate Labous in the final with, I think she had a flat tire or a mechanical. We did speak with Elise Chebby after the finish. I don't know if you guys did, but she was really positive actually about Demi, and she said, yeah, but she looked really good during the race, and she felt like she looked pretty normal like herself. She said, yeah, that was a win for us to see how she was performing during the day.
Yeah, I think based on how terrible Demi looked this morning, I think getting through the stage is a huge win and not losing any time on what was a pretty tricky finale there with that little climb. I think that's a great result.
Can we stop calling it a little climb? Please.
Well, it didn't even really feature in the kind of previews or anything, did it? Or it didn't really see it on the map. It was just, but it was
I
tough.
agree, but when I rode up it, I was like, holy moly, this is not a little climb. It was like, it's a climb.
Yeah, it was a legit climb, probably about 1 kilometre long almost, I think, with about 3 Ks to go. We'll talk more about that in just a second, but for now, let's quickly throw it on another audio diary. This one from Sarah Vanam from Ceratizit.
Hello, this is Sarah coming to you after stage 4 of the tour, the flattest stage, and another sprint finish. Today started full gas again. A lot of girls were trying to get into that breakaway. But yeah, a few got clear in the end, but it all came back together for an uphill sprint finish. We were told that we wouldn't feel the hill in the final kilometers, but it was more significant than I had anticipated, and I definitely felt it. But we walk away with 10th, which is something we can be happy with, and now we head for the hills and the longest day of the tour. Chat again soon. Bye.
All right, so this final climb, coming into the last 3 Ks, we've got Anna van der Breggen on the front smashing it. She kind of pulls off, and then Kopecki's on the front. And there's a moment there with 2.2 Ks to go, and it's just Kopecki on the front and Wiebes. And Van der Breggen's dropping back, and then with 1.8 Ks to go, Kopecki's gone, and Wiebes is all by herself. And Anna van der Breggen has to kind of come back up the outside and jump back on and does another monster turn, as we've talked about. Just a super impressive ride from her today, I thought. How did you guys see it?
Yeah, I think with SD Works today, it was a phenomenal individual ride by 3 riders, but not such a great ride for the team because there wasn't a huge amount of cohesion in that lead out. But yeah, promising signs for Anna as we head throughout the week.
Yeah, I didn't, of course I was behind, so I didn't see that lead out, but I think indeed it's really promising by Anna, and I think it shows that she's actually improving week by week this season, and I think she's really at the strongest we've seen her so far. And it also looks like she's really having fun on the bike. And also when you talk to her, like before or after the stage, she's super relaxed. I think she quite enjoys not having that the pressure of being a GC contender. And if I see her riding today, I think, wow, you can write her down for tomorrow, because with that final, I'll probably talk about it, and the descent towards the finish, this is a kind of finale. Yeah, she's really looking forward to, I think.
Yeah, Anna and a few others, I think, will be frothing at the mouth of this one.
I was at the SD Works bus after the stage today, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, but it's interesting talking to Lotte Kopecky there, and she was saying that, obviously the tour's gone pretty well for them so far with these 2 stage wins. But she also then did say that they will try for GC now with Anna, and they're going to do it without any pressure because they've got the 2 stage wins, but they will try and see how Anna goes on GC. And I thought that was quite interesting because they'd kind of I guess they'd fully abandoned the Kopecky plan for GC, but I hadn't really heard them talk that much about Van der Breggen being a GC option. So based on how she's riding today, that's bodes pretty well.
It's a bit contradictory almost, what they're saying at SD Works, because they're aiming for stages, but they keep that GC in the back of their mind. And I think that's also kind of like, maybe like you're saying, like they three super good individual performances, but maybe not so much cohesion as a team. I don't know. I think they've done also really well as a team this week, especially in the lead outs. Kopecky and Wiebes are, I think, a really good duo when it comes to sprints. And maybe they kind of enjoy racing like this. And I don't know if you should really take. I assume you talked to Danny Stam. I don't know if you should ever really take it super seriously what he says, but I guess we just have to see what they're doing. But I would not completely forget about Anna's GC. I think for Kopecky, yes, we can forget about it. But for Anna, if I would be Anna, and I don't know, I've never had those kind of legs, but I would do the same. I would look at it day by day and take your opportunities where you can. It would be amazing to win a stage in the Tour. She's never done that before, of course. So, and then, when you're still in there for GC in the final weekend, just see how far you can get.
Yeah, great points. Let's talk about the sprint just a little bit. George, you touched on it, but Chloe Dygert was there, and she was the one that really kicked off the sprint with about 250 to go, 270 to go, something like that. And she was quite close to the right of the road, the right-hand barriers, and it sort of forced Wiebes to start her sprint early. In her own words, she had to start her sprint early because she was worried about getting boxed in. What was your take on that? How did you see that unfold?
Well, I mean, we saw everyone fighting for the right side of the road because as we drove in, we knew that would be the favorable side with the wind. So it made sense that Canyon was hugging that side. And you could see Wiebes and Vos over on the left side of the road, actually. And then when they saw Canyon come up on that right side, they dive bombed across to kind of get over to the correct side of the road that was more protected. So Dygert had the inside line. And, Lecourt was on the front with Vos right on her wheel. And it was Dygert was trying to push left to kind of get on Vos's wheel, and Wiebes was fighting as well for it. I didn't see anything untoward in that move, but I just saw Dygert was like, okay, well, it's 270 meters to go. It's I've got a pretty long sprint. I guess I'll open up now. And then that forced Wiebes to do the same. And you could see then Lara Gillespie over on the left from UAE, who actually got third on the day. Everyone went at the same time.
Yeah, that was a great result for Lara Gillespie and for UAE.
Yeah, massive, yeah.
Very good for them in a week that's been challenging with Elisa Longo-Borghini going home.
Yeah, I managed to catch Brodie Chapman as she was riding back to the team bus, and it was the most chipper I've seen her all week, so I was happy to see that.
Just on Wiebes as a sprinter, we've talked so much about her in the last few years and how she's basically unbeatable in these finishes, and there was a really interesting comment from Marianne Vos today in her press conference. Marianne held on to the yellow jersey today. She'll spend another day in the race lead, which is only fitting. But she was asked about Wiebes and just how good she is. And she had a pretty striking line, didn't she, Georgie?
Yeah, Marianne sat down and the first question was from one of the journalists was, Marianne, you've been in the peloton a long time and you've raced with the likes of Kristen Wild. Does Lorena compare to any of these riders that you've raced against? And then Vos said back, Lorena is unlike anything I've seen in my 20 years of racing.
Which is high praise coming from her. I mean, possibly the highest praise. Iris, what do you think about that? Like we've talked a bunch about, is Wiebes the best sprinter the women's peloton's ever seen? I don't know if that's hyperbole or not, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think so. I think if I think about all the sprinters we've raced with in the last, 15, 20 years, she is so versatile. Like either these sprinters were just crazy strong or amazing at positioning, but Wiebes actually has it all. Like I think her power output and especially her power to weight is amazing. She is so explosive. It's like a catapult when she goes, but she's still able to she improved so much on her climbing, but she still has that explosiveness, which is, I think, super impressive. She is, I mean, her body is just incredible. I don't know if I can say that, but she's so strong, so muscled, so lean. Yeah, it's amazing to see.
I love that you say that, and it's something that I've been talking about a lot with my colleagues here at Escape, is that I'd love to see commentators celebrate like the women's bodies like that, because I was talking to like Grace Brown and fellow former athletes, and it's we are very purposeful. You'd be the same. We're very purposeful about how we craft our bodies. They are tools for our craft, and so I'm sure Lorena sees that with her body. So I'm glad we celebrate that.
Yeah, and because I think it's also, I mean, she looks super healthy, and but she's also just. Yeah, she looks like a real athlete, and that's and not that the other cyclists in the peloton don't look like athletes, but they look like cyclists. I don't know how I can explain this, but when you look at her, you see the difference, right?
Yeah, she's a former kickboxer. She's got those shoulders. It helps.
I was asking Lorena in the press conference today how she feels coming into a sprint stage like this, because we all expect her to win on a stage like this. And I wondered whether she also expects herself to win. Does she look at the field and go, I should be the one that's winning this stage? And she didn't really answer the question. She's like, of course you want to win. But then she just went on to talk about how good Marianne Vos is and how impressive it is that Marianne is able to continually be motivated after so long and continually come back year after year, and just kind of deflected the question, which was, very diplomatic of her. But yeah, I wonder about her mindset, because I think if I was in her position, I would be thinking, no one's beating me today. I am not letting anyone beat me. I am the best here.
I think that's her mindset, and that's, of course, we can talk about her fitness and her strength and her body, but that mental side is just as important. And I think, she's really, really good at that, and that's also a talent to stay, like, always when you talk to her, she's so calm. Like, I don't think anything can really, like, wind her up or she's just so calm, and she's on the bike. She's so dialed, and she's so focused, and she can dig so deep also. Like, a few days ago, that finish, when she finished second.
Yeah, stage 2,
that is so impressive. She can go through so many walls of pain, I think, and then still has a sprint.
Yeah, that's a really great point about her being, able to do that, but also being unflappable. We talked on that stage about how she got second. She didn't win the stage, but she was still so happy because she kind of, exceeded expectations in a way. But also, we'll get to this later on, but, the vibes at SD Works don't seem to be all that great. There's a bunch of stuff going on, and she just still seems happy. She still seems like she's really enjoying it. She's very patient with the press. She seems happy to talk about whatever we want to talk to her about. And that's not always a given. So very, very impressed by her.
Yeah, I think being happy and optimistic helps a lot, and it just speaks to her mental strength when, you're in a cultural environment that maybe isn't the best, and to still bring that every day and still bring that tenacity every day and belief is something really special and should be applauded.
You two have got some gyoza in front of you, which looks delicious. While you guys eat that, why don't we throw to another audio diary? This one is from Imogen Wolff from the Visma-Lease bike team, a teammate of Marianne Vos.
Stage 4 done and dusted. This was another really fast day. We had tailwind and sort of quite a bit of tension all day for nothing. So I think we averaged like 44k an hour in the end. It was really fast. I think a bit less hectic than yesterday. Like, it felt quite a bit safer, especially the final and the run in. There wasn't like any super big pinch points, or also there was quite a big drag in like the last 3k that really lined the bunch out, and then it wasn't so clustered together. So this made the sprint a bit safer. The girls did a really good job keeping Pauline and Mariana in the front pretty much the whole day. And then Mariana did a really strong sprint, like almost coming around. This was really, really promising. And everyone from us made it through safe. So this is never a guarantee in a stage like this. So no, we were happy, and almost halfway. Tomorrow's a long day. But yeah, I think we're ready for a thanks.
All right, so that's stage 4 more or less. Stage 5 coming up, and things start to get pretty hard from here. So Georgie, why don't you give us a bit of a rundown of what we can expect tomorrow?
I just want to apologize in advance to the French listeners. I studied Latin at school as my language, so my pronunciation is not great, and I got a scolding today by some French colleagues, so I apologize. But instead, I'm going to just say we're in the home of Futuroscope, so the main sponsor of FDJ Suez, and so a lot of their VIPs will be at the start tomorrow.
Their service course is just up the road.
Yeah, correct. So it is a big day for them, and I think another reason why they would hope that their star rider would be on the start line. So we start in the home of Futuroscope. You can Google where that is, but I will not try and pronounce that name. And we're heading over to Gurer. I think that was all right. And I got the nod from Iris. The Euro at the table. And the peloton will travel 165.8 kilometers.
The longest stage of this year's race.
It's a long stage, and it is lumpy. Talking to Marianne Vos at the press conference after the stage today, she was asked if she could have a go tomorrow, and she was unsure. It's like it will be. There's a lot of little climbs, a lot of launch pads. It's up and down all day, and the final is extremely difficult. However, they only cover 2,070 meters of climbing. So the final features 3 categorized climbs in the final, 30-odd kilometers. We've got 2 category 4s and 1 category 3, which comes at the end with about 8 Ks to go. And then we've got an 8-kilometer descent into the line. So that final category 3, it averages out at 5.4%, but there is a period where it reaches 8.3%. And Iris, I think that was what you were referring to when you're saying Anna would enjoy this course.
Yes, exactly. I think she enjoys that kind of late launch pad in a finale. But there are many other riders that, are exactly, yeah. Nima Doma, Pauline Van Prévost. So, yeah, there are many contenders for tomorrow.
When I was speaking to Kopecky earlier, she was saying that tomorrow definitely looks like a day for the breakaway. And I wonder if she meant an early breakaway that gets up the road early and can survive over those climbs, or a group that gets away later. What do you guys think? Do you think it's more likely a later group?
Well, of course, there's already quite some difference in the GC. So in that way, there should be space for a breakaway. So I think it could be either, a breakaway, an early breakaway that will make it to the finish. And behind them, there might be even a battle from the GC contenders. Or it might be a late break, but then there will be GC contenders in it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I would also just like to point out that descent is extremely technical. So if the group does go over the top, and there are QOM points as well at the top, and our mate Shabby will also be going for those as well, and she can descend. So that is someone to also look out for, because I wouldn't be surprised if there's a late attack and over the top and someone just keeps going with it, because that will be it's downhill all the way into the line. It'll be extremely difficult to bring anything back. It
does kind of have Cedrine Cabal written all over it. I'll put you guys on the spot. Who do you think is going to win tomorrow?
Cabal.
I didn't really think about it yet, but I'll just say Van der Breggen.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think that'd be a great story, wouldn't it?
Exactly, yeah, would be. Would be a bit too much SD works 3 days in a row.
That is true. That is true, yeah.
And I have to say, a bit of a sartorial comment. I'm not a huge fan of the jersey. It's really confusing me.
It's ugly.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if we're gonna go like we should do a ranking. This should be an article, fashion ranking of the jerseys. I do like the Visma one, but the
Iris is nodding furiously, shaking her head furiously.
Difference here, but the SD Works one, it has taken me so long to actually recognize it in the peloton, and I'm still not a fan.
I guess that's also when you change a jersey just for one race, then it's always hard to recognize it. But yeah, I don't really like it. I think it looks a bit like a cheaper version of their previous jersey, to be honest.
AliExpress SD Works.
Something like that, yeah.
Very good. All right, so we've got Iris and Georgie here arguing over who's going to have the last of the gyoza. They do look delicious.
Iris won, by the way.
Yes, you won it.
That's right. You're the very special guest. You get to have the final gyoza. Thank you both. Thank you, especially Iris, for joining us. We'll wrap this up here. Another big day tomorrow. Lots more of the race still to come. For those who are members, stick around. We'll be talking in our off-mic segment a bit more about SD Works. But for now, thank you so much for joining us.